Okay, we're recording. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. The time is now 7:01 p.m. I'd like to get started. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening, everybody. We have some folks to let in or something.
Well, we were letting somebody in, but he's not here anymore.
Okay,
Eric's on.
that's the big E.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so first up, any public comments? Seeing none. Any correspondence, Mary?
No.
Okay. You better keep quiet over there. We're gonna have you removed for disrupting the meeting. I've always wanted to do that.
Somebody removed?
Yeah, you see it on YouTube all the time. Anyway, I move that we approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes from November 19th, 2024. Have a second? Second. Okay, and once we're all here, any discussion?
No, you were.
Oh, there we go. So I'm glad you guys made the motions there, because I did. Actually, I can make the motion, I just can't vote.
Yeah.
So, with all that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain.
Can we note that was a record, Mary? Am I correct?
Record meeting?
Record.
What, 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. You got a lot done in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay. All right. Old business. So we have under B1, B2, B3, B4. So we're looking at consideration whether we're going to use CNR or ARPA funds for the flooring replacement in municipal center. So we have the ARPA list. Pull my eyeballs out here. We have in the neighborhood of between 151 and 191,000. That's if we're going to be getting $40,000 back from the Board of Education. Do we know if that's coming back to the town, the 40,000? That's the thing. Is Brad coming on?
No, that was after Harvard. It would be a little easier to with this third family.
Okay.
We could do the 40.
I guess whatever was out there he had down as 40,000. So we think 30,000 is coming back maybe. Okay. Well, we're not going to be all the way there yet, but anyway, so we're going to be in the neighborhood of $180,000 in ARPA. So one of the things we were considering is if we take a look at B2 and B3. So this started in the back of the municipal center, the area on B3, which was near planning and zoning. The carpet is all coming up, and it's created at this point a pretty significant trip hazard. So we're looking at this as an opportunity to go fix it, and then at the same time do the finance department. When we do this, the idea is that we would take up the carpet in the back, and we believe linoleum or the VLT, BT. Where's my builder guy over here? LVT tile. Yeah, do LVT in areas where the residents come in, right? And then do the carpet in the back. There's no remediation to do with asbestos or anything like that. It's already been checked out.
It's already been checked out?
Yep. We had some folks come out and look at it and everything. So that was a big win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was still a lot left.
Right. So then the second question is, upstairs it's not quite as bad, but it is going to need to be redone. So we have the finance department and the hallway up there for B2. That would pretty much leave only like this room and my office, the first selectman office, as needing to be redone, but none of this is really coming up that badly. I think we would just kind of maybe fix the other two and look at those in a couple years. So that in itself for the carpet would be $24,800 to do both things. Now the question is, do we do it out of CNR or do we do it out of ARPA? we're spending down the remaining ARPA funds.
Where you see
Yeah.
24?
That's, if you look at, you add, oh wait, I'm sorry, wrong number.
You got
I am
16
so
and
sorry.
12.
I'm so sorry, I got the wrong, I read something else here.
29,000 change is what.
Yeah, we had 25,000 on the flooring list here. Let's see, I apologize. I was looking at something else. Yeah, so,
29.
29. And then you got
29.
to move the furniture and stuff.
Yeah, that was the other thing. That was the other piece. That was
So
added
it's
on.
another five,
If-
So,
Yeah, we're probably gonna
So
need another
it's-
5 now.
So that's 29 and 34 roughly.
And that's basically, yeah, because if we can't store it somewhere in the building, which I don't know where we would store it right now. And this time of year, in the winter time, Park and Rec is using the
It all depends on
gyms
time.
and,
She's
yeah.
trying to figure out, yeah.
How long did the contractor say it was gonna take to do the job?
I think it's 3 days.
Yeah.
I was talking, if I remember talking with
Yeah.
Kathy said.
3 days?
Eric Swenson, you're on there. Do you remember how long they said that this would take to fix?
Yeah, it was
You got-
only a few days. We were planning to do it like, we were originally planning to do it between like Christmas and New Year's if we could,
Yeah.
something like that.
They did it.
So were they just moving stuff within the building? They weren't taking stuff out of the building and bringing it back?
They're gonna take it out and bring it back because we don't have anywhere to store it in the building.
Well, can't they
Like I
do
told
half?
Kathy, if it was Christmas, we could manage it, we could figure it out, because we've got a little more
Right.
time, space, but
If they did a Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Oh.
if they're willing to work that.
and they could put it in the hallway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they can
Yeah.
start on Friday and guarantee us to be back, everything back together Monday
Yeah.
morning, I mean, we would save a
Well, that
lot.
would,
Yeah,
Because how much was the storage?
to the rooms and
Yeah.
then put the stuff
it
back.
wasn't, the storage really wasn't that
How much
much.
is it?
Unload, reload the warehouse
Well,
was
it's just-
$700.
You hate to see the look at everything else, and
Yeah.
have to look at all the way back.
But I wonder if the labor goes down if they're just moving it
Yeah.
out into the hall.
Well, 5
Because they're not
workers,
carrying it out to a
7
truck.
hours is $300 an hour, 2065. Yeah, it goes down a little bit because they're just talking about
Just
5
moving it
workers
out
moving
into
down
the
the hallway.
hallway and that's
Yeah.
that.
The difference is basically $49.90 if they move down in the hallway and keep it here. Versus $49.90.
Oh, yeah, on the
$4,190.
backside.
On the backside, it's $52.90.
To take it out, yeah, so.
It's not much more.
So it's 12.
And if they don't need the car or the truck, I'm sorry, the truck that they're putting it in, then they wouldn't move it into the storage unit. They don't know that. Do we feel like they could do it during the Christmas holiday? Do we?
I think it was more of a timing with people that were actually doing the work.
Right.
Because Christmas falls on such that weird timing,
Wednesday.
yeah, and then it's New Year's comes up, so I think it was more of figuring out if they could possibly do it.
Right.
Well, why don't we figure the extra amount and then if they don't need to do it, you get a credit.
I mean, I imagine we're gonna be doing a special sometime later this month anyway, to like make sure we spend every dime. You know, or I should say allocate every dime.
Yeah.
Right? Plus, that would be.
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Okay. I want to make sure I have this last piece out there, the 59. No, just have it. Yeah. Oh, here it is. So it'd be 34, 437, 52. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
Not to confuse, is that with the truck or without the truck?
That would be with the truck,
Yeah,
everything.
I figure with the
Yeah.
truck, and if they don't work out, then
Then we'd have a couple $100 coming back to us.
right.
Yeah. So Brian, we figured out with all in, it would be $34,437.52. So we would say what, 35 even? And that's with the truck, that's with the whole thing.
That's if we just need to decide if we're gonna take it from our part.
Our person, you know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the smart thing to do would be just write a list what we want to do, right?
Right.
And then decide what we're gonna do from ARPA, and what will ask for the,
Well, and which we can start talking about that. Let's see, I think we actually have that later on in our agenda,
oh, it is?
right? So we have consideration of remaining ARPA funds. So
Now, was this already taken out of the remaining ARPA fund?
no, we were kind of
Yeah,
talking about this as a possibility. So why don't we table this and do it the next part?
for sure.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we table the consideration of approval, sorry, old business. Consideration of approval funds from CNR ARPA for the flooring replacement municipal center.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll consider the table. Next up, consideration of approval of the transfer station fees. We did have a public hearing a few moments ago at 6:30. The changes in the fees we discussed would change the food scraps from $1 a bucket to 10 cents a pound, and tables and chairs would be changed from 25 cents a pound to 30 cents a pound, effective January 1st, 2025. There's been some discrepancy. We've talked, we might have to delay it depending on when the scale comes in, but we think it's all going to be up and running. It's worth noting that we did approve this once as a board, but then we figured out, we had to do a public hearing. It wasn't going to go to a town meeting. So that's kind of where we stand. So I move that we approve the changes to the transfer station fees as described. Any further discussion? Staying none, I'll try your minds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions, no's, motion passes. Okay, looking at section D1. In D1, we have the the meetings for next year. So the 2025 regular meeting schedule. It's still the regular meetings are the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. in meeting room A at the municipal center. I would take a motion to approve the list as presented.
Second.
A second, okay. Any discussion about the dates? Mary's gone through and looked at these.
I know.
Making sure it's not on my birthday.
What is your birthday?
Might be big time.
Okay.
Oh, they always get me on Valentine's
Today?
Day.
Oh, wow. We'll have to wait.
The budget.
I can do a proclamation here.
Great, let's come to a budget meeting on Valentine's Day.
All right, so, I made a motion for approval. Did somebody get a second to that one already, Mary?
Yeah.
Rich, no, I'm sorry, Brian made the motion,
I
Rich
see
seconded.
Your
Dr.
second,
Narver
okay.
shaking her head.
So with the meeting schedule, and with that, I'll try your minds. All in favor of the meeting schedule, say aye.
Aye.
I know opposed or no abstentions. Motion carries. All right. Next up, consideration of ARPA funds for safety and security upgrades and repairs for schools. Do you want to handle that in the last one too? Since we're talking
I
about
mean,
that?
well, the school kind of looked at
Yeah.
this and, my thoughts were from ARPA to go with the cameras, obviously, for the parking lots. I mean, our parking lot should have cameras at the schools. I'm assuming we don't have cameras out there right now. That's why
We
we're
have
doing this.
some, there's
But
some
you wanna
areas with
add-
cameras and there's some areas.
So you just want to pick up more blind spots. I would support that. I support the security badge reader upgrade. The walkie-talkie repeaters for the VHS and, the security grade for Johnson Kitchen.
Mhm.
I think those, the other items, I'm not 100% sure are the way to go with those. But I think we could definitely make the argument with all those security upgrades if that's a good use of ARPA's money.
One thing, when we were talking about this, what is the status of the 460 account? So just so we're kind of clear, because one of the things, these were things that would normally come out of 460.
It's in very dire shape right now, as we anticipated it would. There have been a number of HVAC issues that Jen can talk in more detail about, and different things that have occurred. And Jen, I think the balance is like $10,000. I might be a little bit lowballing it, but it's really low. Am I not wrong?
10 grand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at a point now where we don't have to.
Right.
Well,
Right. we will have to come to you, as we said we did during that budget cycling process at some point, because we don't have enough to maintain some of the repairs.
Were the cameras in your 460 budget, or is this just something you're looking to do
That's
this?
maybe we were thinking for next year's 460,
Yeah,
but they're not in our current 460.
again, I mean, I think for ARPA, it makes sense to do the security upgrades without a doubt, but, you know, fixing a hot water leak is it still leaking, or did you pay for that already, I'm assuming?
No, it's still leaking.
Still leaking,
Right.
we're just leaking,
We don't want to speak of leaking.
I mean.
So we could come to you separate.
Leaking for, I'm beginning, you know, I'm a very inquisitive person, I'm finding it hard to
No.
believe you're gonna leave a leak going into,
No.
you know.
And we are going to have to start coming to you for some of these repairs.
I remember you guys
it's-
saying that.
Yeah, so without a doubt, because of where we are with the budget, with special ed, overtures and things like that. We came in very tight last year purposely, and now we're starting to feel some of that. So some of that will offset it. And some things like, I would say like the playground for Circle, I believe, Jen, that's on the list, correct? It is a new safety concern because I don't know if you've ever seen that playground, but it has like a rubberized surface because it's a preschool. And some of that rubberized surface is actually wearing down, which I think is part of the normal cycle of it. So that would be a future 460 item. But you're right, Brian, most of these are security.
So again, my feelings are, I know what your feelings are. Let's do the security, let's put the security upgrades on our ARPA list right now, and we'll come back to it. But to be honest with you, like a generator repair, HVAC, like if you really don't have the money, that should probably come out of capital non-reoccurring or someplace else, because, you know, we have some other items that are kind of costly, but will improve the citizen safety as well, that I think that makes sense to get done with ARPA. You know, in these small ticket items, I think it's much easier just to come back and say, hey, you know, I need $1,000. You know, no one's going to say that we shouldn't fix the generator at, you know, Barry, or no one's going to say that we shouldn't fix a hot water leak, you know, obviously. But do you agree that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. The question is too, then, maybe in part of this, we recommend that $25,088 comes out of NCNR and just send it to the Board of Finance.
Yeah.
And that way we can get these things that are like moving currently.
Let's see where at the end of ARPA, how much we have left, because maybe we could throw a couple of the small things on. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'd like to get, you know,
Yeah.
we had talked about traffic safety and stuff like that, and I think it's very important.
Yeah.
You know, for some of the crosswalks and whatnot, that we install lights before, you know, so.
So, in this case, then what I'll do to start this, I'll make a motion that we approve $75,796 from ARPA funds for the security camera upgrades, which include the high school parking lot, gym doors, track house, and Johnson stairwell, security badge reader upgrades for the doors and DHS, DMS, JS, Barry, and IT system integration, security upgrades for the walkie-talkie repeaters with the high school, and the security upgrade for the strobe and speakers in Johnson Kitchen. That should be $75,796.
Second.
Are you looking at those there, Jen, to see if that adds up to the correct thing? Okay.
Let the accountant check, please.
Okay. So with that, I will, any further discussion on that piece. Okay, with that, I'll try your minds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes. I'll set this aside for a moment. Now this gets to the general discussion about the consideration of remaining ARPA funds. The ARPA funds have to all be allocated by the end of December. They have to be spent by the end of next December. Allocate means, you know, we're looking at things that can actually, you know, be invoiced. We know we have a lot of needs we've been talking about for some period of time. A few of the things that we were throwing around, obviously the voter maintenance accounts, which we just talked about. That was an item. the flooring in the municipal center we were just talking about. And that's, basically 35,000. So we got Taylor.
I'll be ready.
Okay.
Just have an alarm.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, what I'll probably do is well, I guess we could just continue discussing. We won't vote till I get that. Okay. 7035 for that, 75, 790. The senior center has requested a stove for the larger kitchen in the back. It's $8,000. We had, the other thing would have been tree removal at the tennis courts, which we have invoices in here for. You look at, F1. Let's see here. Yeah, F1. There's another page to this.
It's double-sided.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
53 plus the 19th.
Yeah, and that comes out, that's where I was getting the 24,800. Yeah, I mean, this has been done, but this was part of the tennis court project, and which all came out of ARPA. So it really made sense to do it out of there because our tree budget is just crushed this year. So that's why this was an opportunity for, it'll be 24,800. And the last thing we talked about was, Eric, we spoke earlier, Eric's online. We were talking about doing the crosswalk, flashing beacons. It's still a huge issue along Greenwood. We know that we're going to get some money eventually for some of this stuff, but we don't know when. And it's kind of been an urgent need we've been talking about for the last year. So Eric, you mentioned that you thought those were 45 grand.
Yeah. And actually, I think it goes back further than that. I believe the police commission approved that location on Greenwood Avenue even a few years back.
Are we talking up by Dolan Plaza? Are we talking up by Greenwood, the grocery store, or over by Farnham?
I was thinking of the Dolan Plaza location, although maybe you were thinking of another one.
Well, we're also talking about Farnham. But can we?
Are you saying it's 45,000 for one intersection?
Yeah, I don't have a quote that I don't really know where that number came from.
Well,
So
Eric, I mean, I looked them up online, and those LED kits with the buttons average anywhere from like 2 to 4,500 a sign. So I was thinking you'd probably be in it for 10K an intersection, because we're not talking about, installing crosswalks. I mean, that's the crosswalk like that's like a 200, bigger than that. So I was thinking, 10,000 an intersection, and we were talking about down by Burger King.
And doing a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple of them, because all these ones that don't have crosswalk lights, it's become very dangerous, especially down there by Burger King.
Yeah.
And
long-
even by
long wide
Dolan,
road.
by Dolan Plaza.
We're getting a lot of complaints about Carol.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get hurt at those things without the traffic lights. And
So if we were to set this aside, at least for now, the question is, could we do the 3 intersections? The 3 crosswalks rather. Carol Uzzi's, Dolan Plaza, and over by Burger King.
I think it
Would be the goal.
sense. Oh, absolutely.
sorry, Dan, could you say that again? You said Caroluzzi's, Dolan Plaza, and what was the third one?
Burger King. Now, the question is, we might have to go back to the police commission, so I don't know which ones they approved.
Well, that's a state road.
Yeah, but the police commission is still the
Police
ultimate
commissioner,
traffic authority.
They'll be able to.
Yeah, they have to weigh in.
I'm sure they, I can't
Oh,
imagine
no,
they're
they're-
gonna say, they'll probably be delighted to get those lights.
Yeah.
Definitely create.
There was also talk about the one kind of in between PT Barnum Square and Jacqueline's. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, and actually that one particular, I think we've got money coming for, because I know that was one of the locations that we received a Safe Streets for All grant through Westcog. We just haven't heard anything about it coming. I mean, I don't think it's going to go away. There was always concerns with the change in the political powers that be that could go away, but it's been done and supposedly awarded. I just haven't heard from Westcog how we're going to get it. So we can follow that one up.
Yeah, that's been kind of sitting out there. The other thing for that location, just so you know, we had some discussions about this as part of the mobility study. If ConDOT's okay with it, we were thinking, especially for that location near PP Barnum and Jacqueline's, looking into embedded lights. So you may have seen these. Sometimes they have them at airports and things, but they're kind of on the asphalt surface. I don't know if DOT is going to go for it, but the reason we were thinking of that as an option is because the RFBs can get kind of cluttered with the signs, and there's a lot of sign clutter and light poles in that area. And I didn't want to clutter it up. So I'm just throwing that out there as something we'll look into if it's an option.
Okay, but for us tonight, you really haven't looked into the cost of these, units.
No.
So I mean.
So we
I
need-
would-
we need to-
I mean, I think, like I said, I mean, we were looking online, it looked like it was 10. It would be anywhere from 8 to 10K, to do 2 signs.
So we could,
4,000 a
we
sign.
could probably very quickly turn around a quote. We could, give him kind of, an amount to look for. Keep it under 50 or 40, and then we would know at our next meeting, be able to pull the trigger if we thought it
Yeah, I
was
would
something we
say-
wanted to do.
I mean, because what intersections, we want to do Burger King for sure.
Yeah.
We want to do across from Dolan Plaza. We want to do Carluzzi's, and you wanted to do, the one by, the
PT Barnum,
PT Barnum. So
which,
those
but
are-
I think we're gonna get money for that one. I just don't know when. I'll check. I can check too. We
Oh,
can-
yeah, I mean, if you think, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, I would say that we would have to put minimum of 40,000 aside for those, you
Right.
agree?
Yeah.
I would put 40,000 aside.
Okay.
Now, what's the status of the other mobility study that's going on with the street?
The one downtown?
Yeah.
So the downtown mobility parking study is complete, but we haven't gotten any money to do anything, or applied for any grants to actually do the work.
Yeah, well,
But the study itself
could
is,
that be included in those?
it probably can, but we're talking years.
Yeah.
And
I
we
think
could,
it's- I
we
think
could
it's
repurpose these.
Yeah, after what happened in town, Rich,
Yeah.
I just think it's a matter of time before we have a tragedy.
I think it is too.
I think we just gotta. do
Yeah.
something.
I
And-
just wonder
yeah,
what the status.
It certainly could be
No,
part of that.
I'm not saying you don't care
Yeah,
about people,
yeah,
Rich. I'm
yeah.
just saying that,
And then
just
the
wanna
other
get
one,
it done.
we're looking at, we just were awarded, safety, also, I'm sorry, Safe Streets for All grant for the Stony Hill area and the rest of town too. Like we could use it to look at some of the, roads coming into town that if we needed additional signing or something on, but we just got awarded that one, but that was separate. It'll be quite some time before we get money for that, because it's a whole nother grant process. So, I mean, if we were to hold $40,000 back, see kind of, I think the issue is here. If I add this up, the amount for the flooring was more than I kind of thought originally. We thought it was gonna be 25,000. We're looking at 35,000, but let's look at this. So 75, 790 would be the school initial piece there, plus 35 for the flooring, plus 8,000 for the senior center stove, if we did that. 24,800 for the trees. That brings us to 143,590. And if we held back $40,000, that would put us in position to be under, basically we have 30 grand coming back from the HVAC.
So are you positive we're gonna get that?
Or do you-
Okay.
So we just basically hold back. The only other thing that I had on this list that was, we talked about $10,000 for the highway garage. They were going to redo this came up last year, that their kitchenette area, when it comes to doing those roads and having those long nights and stuff, is a mess. It's terrible. We were going to make some investments to fix it up. They have a quote from somebody from Home Depot, and the guys can do the work. It's basically about 10 grand worth of material. If we do these other things, we probably can't have that. But that might be something we consider at some point going to CNR for, maybe the next meeting. Give the Board of Finance a chance to weigh in on that. And
Let's see where the crosswalk lights come in. I mean,
Yeah.
they ranged in price. I mean, we may be way over, we may be
Okay.
under, but I'd be interested to see where those lights come in.
okay,
All right, well, I'll give you my spiel about
Yeah.
the carpet replacement. I said before, I believe that's maintenance that should go to CNR. The town shouldn't be using the ARPA funds for replacement of flooring.
Mhm.
The flashing light is a mobility thing. I think that's well within the field of allowability for the security at the schools. I think is also allowable. But the maintenance things, I understand about the garage, the kitchen and stove, but the general public doesn't use that. And my understanding is the ARPA funds was for the general public for if there was ever a pandemic that people could go to the parks and get outside and be mobile. And so, I'm not in favor of, things that are more of a maintenance.
Yeah.
And I agree with Brian about the things for the board, that the boiler, the hot water leak and stuff, that should be a maintenance item. That's
Capital non-operating plan if you have.
so.
that was for the, go ahead.
Right, but Rich, the one thing I'll disagree with on the flooring is if their carpet's pulling up and the public is using that.
Well, yeah, it's
that's-
a hazard, but
Right,
I think the town should pay for it,
It's a trip. You know,
Okay.
I'm saying, I just am slightly disagreeing with you that I think it falls well within the guidelines of ARPA, and I believe Brad agrees with that, correct?
Well, there's two pieces to think about. I mean, number one is the intention of what ARPA was, and certainly we've used it for a lot of things to benefit fire departments, police departments, anybody who's doing things. And by the way, the 10 grand for the highway garage is totally people who were working their butt off during ARPA
Yeah.
or the pandemic. But there's the other piece is we're allowed to use it for the things because of the amount of money we received. It really was a revenue offset. Like it's legitimately, that's what we were allowed to track it as because of the way that we had less than whatever the number is, Brad's not here. We could do it that way, but I think we've done a really good job of trying to keep it in that lane mostly. I understand where you're coming from. I mean, I don't mind where the 35,000 comes from either way. I think we're doing this just trying to be thoughtful too of what next year's budgets are going to look like and what our capital long period looks like. And the question is, if we didn't do it from this, what would we do?
I think this is an immediate need, something
Yeah.
that we have to do, so it was up to
Yeah.
me, next budget season, if there's something you want, we go through the budget process and I mean, eventually we're gonna have to redo the cupola at town hall and we got a lot
Yeah.
of stuff coming up, so
We do.
I would just assume.
That's maintenance things.
Yeah, and that would definitely be.
Yeah, that's,
amazing.
right, so.
So if tonight we were, I guess then, Rich, if you didn't feel comfortable with 35,000 for that, and Brian and I are going to support it, would you like us to break that out of a vote? Meaning vote on that
Yeah, I
separately?
think we should vote on each one of the items.
Vote on each one of the items? Okay,
Sounds fair.
that sound fair? So, just kind of where we stand right now, I think we've agreed on the 75,790 for the schools, for the security upgrades, the 8,000 for the stove at the senior center, the 24,800 for the tree. That brings us to 143,590, and we would just hold off till our next meeting on the other items.
How much did we think we had a little bit of overage?
Overage,
Like we still had a little bit left?
yeah, there would be a little bit left.
Like how much? is a little bit?
Well, I think we're only assuming we're gonna get 30,000 back. So right now from the schools, so that would put us at 181,443 remaining total.
What was
So that would
total we
be,
left?
so if we did 181, 443, 15 minus 3, 590. So if we did all that with the,
I get it.
yeah,
How much we
it's
have?
37,850.
We still have 37,000 left?
Yeah. That's holding money back for, that would count, that's not the 40,000 for the,
Flash
crosswalks. That would be the 40,000 for the crosswalks, it's 37,800,
Oh,
right? Because that would be, we don't have to do the senior center stove out of this,
Well-
we could wait if we want to have an extra.
well,
10 grand or something.
the thing I was thinking is, I mean, the senior center stove's an easy purchase. You know.
Yeah.
In the budget cycle, that's not a hard. What I'm saying is, and I don't know if you could do it. If you could get us to 35,000 back from the HVAC project. And if we could actually probably do the buried safety repairs because it's so well used by the kids. You know, a stove is a very easy purchase and.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait. Yeah, we can wait.
That's
I'm not-
that's an easy purchase.
Sure.
But if you think you could get it to 35, I think that we'd be able to get done the Berry school improvement, and that helps for next year's 460 account.
Yeah, we can make that.
Okay.
Do you agree, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could get the seniors their stove. I mean, that's not a big deal. This is just.
We can
small
also
purchase.
wait just to make sure that we have the money back
Yeah.
for the crosswalks and,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you can
all.
get that turned around in a
But
day.
I would add that and, you know,
Or
take
even
that.
the crosswalk.
That way we can get that.
Yeah.
Cause that is used by a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's used.
And the public
around
goes
time.
there too.
Yeah.
In the summertime, they like
Yeah.
to go on the playground.
I agree.
so That makes sense.
Okay. So let's add this on here.
They get it at 12 to the 75.
And she guaranteed us 35,000 back from the
Yeah.
HVAC. Hope we have to put that in there.
And 12. Oops. So that would be 87,815 to the schools. 24,800 the tree for the tennis courts.
Just out of curiosity, and then Rachel's from Michigan, why weren't the trees in the original quote?
I don't know that we really ever put it in there. I think that was kind of an afterthought when they realized the trees were damaging.
That Dan and I had when we were
Yeah.
like, hey, we should do this, and then, hey, those pine trees will be horrible up to there. And ruin the board.
Because that was happening, they were actually ruining the court. the
Yeah,
first time.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I just lost my.
You're at 80
No, no.
something thousand.
Yeah, 87,815 plus 24,800. It puts us at 112,615.
40,000 for the signs.
Yeah, which we're just kind of holding back, right?
Yeah.
So that would be 132,615.
132. We're at
Oh,
80
sorry,
something.
sorry. We said 40,052. And then. And we haven't added the 35,000
Lauren.
there yet. That would be the next piece, yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah,
We're on target, right?
yeah, I think so.
That'd be good.
That, with the, that gets us to 187,615.
I'm good with it.
Okay. So we'll go piece by piece, just to make sure that we get this correct. So I started to make a motion earlier for this, so we'll just make each motion separately. So with respect to the school, I move that we use ARPA funds, for the security upgrades, including the cameras for the BHS parking lots, gym doors, track house, and Johnson stairwell. The security badge reader upgrades for the doors at BHS, BMS, JS, Berry, and IT system integration. The security upgrades for the walkie-talkie repeaters at the high school. The security upgrade for install strobe lights and a speaker in Johnson Kitchen. And the safety repairs of the Circle of Friends playground over at Berry. That total is $87,815. So I guess we're on track. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And the motion carries. Next up, I make a motion that we approve ARPA funds in the amount of $24,800 to cover the tree removal, in conjunction with the tennis court upgrades done by All Seasons Tree Care. Do I have a second?
Second.
How much was it?
24,800. That was, 9,000 each for 22 trees and stump grinding in the amount of 5,300.
So we should be at 112,679.
I have 112,615. Maybe I got that wrong.
Oh, it could be more.
So 87,815 plus 4,800. I have 112,615.
Six.
Okay. All in favor of $24,800 from ARPA for the trees?
Second. Or
Actually, I'm sorry, I apologize. I made the motion. Did I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor? Aye. That motion carries. Okay. Finally, I move that we approve $35,000, up to not to exceed $35,000 for the repairs to the carpet in the municipal center. I have a second. Any further discussion? I mean, we talked about it, but if you want to add it, okay. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And
There's
I
one
think,
more.
I think it should come from Santa.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to make these other items CNR from the Board of Ed?
Well, that actually, I was going to bring that up last, but
Okay.
I think that's worth a motion. If we want to, you want to propose that since we're talking about that.
Well, you're set with this. from
Yeah,
the
you,
money for-
that was it for what we're doing now. We're going to wait on the last part. The remaining would be
I'll make
$13,075.
$13,075.
Yeah, right, because that would be 6,000 for the hot water supply leak. That would be VHS repair
Yeah.
for the elevator and very generator repair from CNR. If we wanted to push that forward now.
I'll make a motion that we approve $13,075 for repairs of the hot water leak, of the repairs of the elevator, fire stage 1 and 2, and the Berry generator repairs.
And
And refer that to the Board of Finance for funding.
perfect. I would second that. Any further discussion on those items as far as referring them to the Board of Finance?
Yeah, my only request is that we get like an accounting of how much is actually left in that account.
On the first 16? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
if you could send that to Dan and then he can send it out to me and Rich, right? This email.
Okay. Without further discussion, I'll try minds. All in favor of the recommendation of Board of Finance, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Get close. Get close. I'll just go ahead. I make a motion. We do a bid waiver for the construction of Flora Park. For a second. Second. Okay, discussing this, obviously we've used Gordian a lot. It's basically say contracting. This thing is coming down to the wire, obviously. Rachel, would you like to add anything about?
So they literally had 5 days to get this to me. More of it was just like timing.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna just sit down with Brad to get a full understanding of if we go with 40, based on the ARPA rules, like, do we have to find it or do we need to tweak this a little bit? Because obviously, the post-tension concrete basketball courts are expensive. We knew they were gonna come in as expensive.
Yeah.
They've done just rise, and I mean, that's what Dan Ray just paid. Even SLR said it was gonna be about $250. So I just want to confirm with Brad, can we stick with this? And then possibly after December say, hey, we're gonna go with the asphalt to lower the price so that we can get more things. They kind of just took the big ticket prices to get us to that 450 number.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is the renovations and the rest
Yeah.
of the contract.
So I can answer that question very easily. So
Okay.
we've already approved the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
And we've also accepted the grant from the state.
Correct.
So the money and funding is in place.
Yep.
At this point, changes that happen with this really won't be an issue if we're gonna do a bid waiver because we're getting it done. There's some flexibility just to get that done and get it within the number.
Yeah.
With Brad.
Okay,
Is that, I think I'm speaking, I don't see any issue with that, right?
Well, the funding is in place.
Funding is in place.
And then how it's used, you have a budget, don't you, to submit to the,
for the 5.5 million, the
Yeah.
other one, yes, this is just covering the ARPA funds.
Right.
This
I
bid
will
is,
talk to Brad about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of talked to him today to kind of clarify a couple things, but I'll sit down with him tomorrow to.
Right.
To really clarify, but this is their bid. If Brad tells me we need to tweak it at all to meet ARPA's requirements,
Yeah.
we'll tweak it, but we will use every penny that we have to use.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if there is any, if it's gonna be left, we'll call it back for something.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
hoping that there's not gonna be a penny left over of anything.
I know.
So.
yeah.
But Gordian, like I said, like Dan said, does have the easy Q bid, so they are all at state bid waiver rates, so. Technically, you don't have to go to a waiver is what they told me, but we do waivers, so,
We do waivers.
yes.
Our charter says so. Okay, with that, I mean, any other further discussion with respect to doing a bid waiver? Okay, and then I'll try your minds, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Rachel. Thanks for being patient. It's been a little long.
Always patient.
Okay, so what we have before us is a resolution, and I'll read the resolution first. What this is for a master right-of-way agreement for projects for the DOT. It's a normal thing that comes out every so often, and we're actually overdue. It just got lost in the shuffle. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Resolve that this is a resolution, resolve that the town of Bethel is hereby authorized to enter into with the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation, the master municipal agreement for rights-of-way projects, and resolve that Daniel E. Carter, as first selectman of the town of Bethel, is authorized to execute and deliver the master municipal agreement for rights-of-way projects on behalf of the town of Bethel, and further resolved that the first selectman is authorized to be designated official for purposes of the agreement to do and perform all acts and things which he deems necessary, to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such agreement. This will hopefully be adopted by the Board of Selectmen of the town of Bethel, Connecticut, this third day of December 2024. And then Lisa will sign this and we would present this with the agreement signed. So with that, I make a motion that we resolve or pass the resolution as presented. Second?
Second.
Any other further discussion on that?
I would just
Melanie, we
give a
align?
little bit of explanation
Yeah.
about that agreement. So, this is a state agreement, it's a master agreement, so that when we have various projects with them, it governs basically how things work. If they administer the project, if the town administers the project, just what the procedure is and the protocols are. So, we have some sidewalk projects going on, for example, road improvement projects would be governed by this document. So it's something that they want to have in place that lasts for 10 years. And we just use it, refer to it. Probably our public works department will be familiarizing themselves with that. So that's what it is.
Okay. See no further discussion. I will try mine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up here, consider of approval of the fire commission's request regarding engine 3. We have the fire commission chair here. Now the request was that one here. It's basically to designate engine 3 as a frontline piece and do the renovation on it or the restoration. Maybe you could explain that for us.
The fire commission just wanted to make a recommendation to maintain engine 3 as a frontline piece of apparatus for Stony Hill Fire Department. Going forward, now and going forward, it's
Okay.
as opposed to previous discussions that you and I had.
Yeah.
You know, were we gonna maintain the truck? Were we gonna get rid of the truck? Were we gonna try to sell the truck? We brought it before the fire commission had lengthy discussion on it with the chief, members of Stony Hill Fire Department and the commission. That was our recommendation, was to maintain it as a frontline piece of apparatus.
Okay. I know because we had talked about this because of getting the ladder truck and it being a bumper ladder, whether or not we would have another engine, right? And listen, I don't, right now, I don't think we're doing anything. We're not making a move either way. We certainly can't vote to refurbish anything until we have a dollar amount and know. And by the way, I think the next up on the list is engine 6 from Bethel, I believe. If you look at the old plan, the next would be engine 6, but we'll have to talk about that, right?
No,
But
it would be one of the rescue,
Yeah.
you know, a rescue from one of the departments.
So right now, there's really nothing to do.
Yeah, we're not looking to
Yeah,
spend any money. We were just.
Yeah.
Because you and I
I know
had
you're
previous discussion on what to do.
No,
with it.
I think I've been very
We
clear.
just wanted
that-
to forward the recommendation
Yeah.
to maintain it going forward.
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything to vote because nothing's happened.
No,
You know what I mean?
Correct.
I mean, it's
Okay.
basically, there's no reason to really do anything because,
that's.
Yeah.
you know,
But
if it
yeah.
was decided that, hey, you know,
Yeah.
we're thinking about decommissioning the truck or going a different direction, that's the time that we would have to have meetings and sit down and talk.
And
Like, yeah.
that's the discussion we had, is whether or not we were gonna maintain it, decommission it, sell it, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Our recommendation is to,
And that would, listen, a lot, that'll be whenever we're looking at the next engine too. Like a replacement or the ladder truck for, like, we'd have to look at that. And I understand where you're coming from because I've been very open about, like, do you really need another engine when you don't have the bodies to turn it out? I don't think we're there yet. That is still a huge concern.
yeah, I mean, the discussions we had were,
Yeah.
were revolved around that, you know, do we have the manpower to maintain it?
Yeah.
But we also discussed, look at the growth, you know, in that, just in that district, never mind the
Yeah.
whole town.
Yeah.
And whether or not it could be used as a reserve piece for the town, you know, should something go downtown.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
think it's still a valuable asset compared to what we could get for it if we put it on the market, you know.
It's 19 years old and we
It
won't
doesn't
get
really
anything
have
for it.
great market value
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. So yes, I don't, I mean, I'll say I totally get where you're coming from. I appreciate that. I'm not moving to do anything. We've expressed concerns. Also, part of that is we need to do the volunteer part of this. We have a lot to do to recruit volunteers, which is going to be a big discussion as we enter into our next budget next year. Huge. So I appreciate it, Stan. I'm don't have an appetite to do anything with it. So we'll take it as advisement. There's really nothing to vote on.
Very good.
But, you know, it's worth, I wanted it on the agenda to talk about it and put it out there. Totally get where you're coming from for that. So, next up here is the, consideration approval for the fire commission's request for the purchase of portable radios for truck 4 from CNR in the amount of $16,867.92. Chief, you're here. Can you explain real quick, or either one of you, like the two, why this wasn't in the first iteration of the truck? Why wasn't this?
We were told that there really wasn't going to be any money available and allocated for equipment for the truck.
Yep.
But with what we just said, that the engine 3 is going to still remain as a first line piece, we're not having a surplus of radios to move from one apparatus to another. So with having 6 seats, so if you do have extra money in the ARPA funds, I would love to have money for 6 radios. But what we had done was we had borrowed radios from other apparatus, so a couple from the utility, some from the expedition, which do go to calls. So we did allocate radios for those when the radio project came in. So I don't like having no radios or lesser quality radios, because we had deemed those radios that the town had, the HC-1250s, those little black ones, as definitely antiquated and outdated. So we are trying to put those back, but we couldn't come up with enough that it would seriously start to affect, again, first line apparatus, and we'd have seats without, you know, the radio. So that's where we came up with the 2.
And these are two, basically you have 2 short right now that you need.
We would be too short.
Okay.
And then obviously down the road, we're going to be looking to go to ask for 4 to replace to have the total of the 6 that we need for the truck and put back what we borrowed.
But I guess my question is, when we had that meeting, we said we had enough equipment. There was no talk about borrowing radios and you're ready coming back looking for radios. I remember both of you saying, we're gonna make it work. You know, we're not coming back to you for more money, right? And now here we are, and we're coming back for more money. Now, obviously, I'm a public safety guy, but I don't understand why this wasn't like just part of the presentation that was given to us. So, you know, I didn't, so I wouldn't have to hear we're not coming back for more money, and now we're back for more money. And it's as a direct result of the pumper truck that you guys told me we weren't gonna need any more money for, that we were gonna make it work. So why was this not brought to us during that meeting? I mean, you had to have known how many radios you had.
Correct. We basically were told that we have to try and make it work, and we tried, and that's why we came up with.
I was at the meeting. I remember what was at the meeting. And look, all I'm saying is, and this is what causes the things, you know, I just want to know what the costs are up front. I don't make value judgments on anything until I hear all the facts, right? But when I heard you guys tell me, we're not coming back for more money, we have the equipment, we can make it work, and now you're telling me that we can't make it work because we borrowed radios out of other fire trucks. You know, it probably would have made sense to let me know then, so I could have just said, you know, oh, so they need $18,000 for a radio for this truck, and we're not swapping truck playing musical radios. Does that make sense or not? You guys understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying, Paul. Personally, I was led to believe that the loose equipment that the department had they would have enough to outfit the truck with.
So it was really much just oversight.
They came to us, they came to the fire commission,
Yep.
chief came to the fire commission last month and said, you know, but the truck's here, we're outfitting the truck.
Yeah.
It's got 6 seats, we got 4 radios. You know, obviously this is the first 2-piece apparatus. It's gonna have interior firefighters on it. We're not sending guys inside a burning building without radios. Just don't do that this day and age.
And no one's suggesting that you should.
No, I know you're not saying.
Someone's
From
suggesting
the
that.
fire commission standpoint, you know, I think we were led to believe that they had enough equipment to outfit the truck and put it in service.
Yeah.
They came to us last month, said, we're 2 radios short.
I
We recommend,
think it happens.
we recommend that, you know, we acquire 2 radios to get the
Yeah.
truck put in service.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question. The town approved 1.8 for the truck.
Was one.
For the referendum.
I thought.
What was our,
What?
And the truck was 1,790 or whatever.
did
it was.
we do 1.8
I
flat?
thought-
Does anybody know? Cause I had to look that
I
up.
thought we put the exact number in the
I thought we put the
referendum.
exact number.
We were talking about it when we were looking for one, Rich,
Yeah.
remember? But then we found this
I
one,
can-
and
I
I
can
thought
look
we
it
put the exact
I'm
number.
almost certain of the referendum numbers.
I can find that out right now.
Because we didn't have a number, we didn't have a firm number on the truck until after the referendum.
I don't remember.
1 second.
Oh, Brad's not on.
Brad Brad and I both were at a conference today, all day, so probably has had enough. Almost there.
Well, my question was,
Right.
you know, if we
Sure,
had
one-
1.8 for the truck was under the 1.8, can he get
What
the
is-
16,000 out of the balance?
That's a good point. I mean, technically, I would say yes, right? I mean, let me see here.
I gotta be honest, with you, I don't know if that is gonna fly. It was for the purchase of the truck. I mean, look, the money's going back, you know, I'm not sure that's, I think if we're gonna get them the radios, we buy them the radios, but we don't say that, you know, we approve the 1.8 million, I believe we would have to read the way it was read, was the purchase for the fire truck.
And outfitting it.
Where did it say that in the referendum, Richie?
Well, it came.
Well, we can't just
you
say,
Outfitted the truck somewhat with the purchase of
Yeah.
the truck, correct?
but you can't just, legally, you just can't make, you know, extrapolate that the referendum said people assume that you're gonna outfit the truck. I mean, it was for the purchase of the truck.
Yeah, it was for the purchase of the truck. We
So
didn't-
if it's for the purchase of the truck, no one's saying they can't get the radios.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we need to pay for that out of CNR.
I-
That's the way you go about it, because that referendum's done and we told the taxpayers what we were buying.
I'm curious, I don't think, I've not seen the final invoice on the truck. I've actually not even seen, like, to make sure it was under 1.8. I know that That was gonna be, yeah, I've never seen the final invoice yet.
I thought, what was it, 1.75
something?
something, 1.7.
789.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that sounds right.
So, I mean,
So I mean, I agree that we, listen, at the end of the day, the money's the money. I don't think this gets covered under that vote. We're still gonna pay for it, but I think we should
It's
pass
a
it.
question you
Yeah.
can ask Brad,
Yeah.
and if not, then it would have to go to CNR.
Okay.
So, but when it goes to Board of Finance, if we recommend it on CNR, actually it's Brad and Board of Finance get to decide where it comes from.
I-
It comes out of the-
I would recommend it, just recommend it tonight. I mean,
Yeah,
because
you know, I would
we're not gonna change our mind anyway, so just recommend it and let the Board of Finance take it up with next.
Because I think you bring up a great point. Maybe Brad can pull it out of there and leave CNR untouched, which would be wonderful.
Well, I mean, if we didn't spend the money anyway,
Yeah.
it's, you know, whatever, it's gonna
Yeah,
go back to the general fund anyway.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
But I
So maybe happening.
I mean, technically, I mean, you know, you're talking about the charges, they're a fixed piece for the trucks. I mean,
Yeah.
you could technically consider it a piece of the
well, it
apparatus.
must not be that fixed, because they didn't come from the factory, because you borrowed them off other trucks.
Yeah.
Well, but yes.
Yeah. But that gets back to, there was the money for the truck.
I don't think we should, all I'm saying is, I don't think we should stretch the law, and I just think
Yeah.
that, you know,
Listen,
It's not really the commission's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
for you
I
to
mean,
suggest where the money comes from.
we're gonna get the
Yeah.
radios anyway.
You're gonna get,
Our recommendation is get the radios.
get the radios. Yeah.
And I'm fine with us voting
Okay.
to get them from CNR tonight, and if,
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
if Melanie and Brad talk and Melanie feels comfortable that you could take it from the referendum, then fine, that's a legal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did,
I
So let
don't,
me ask you a question. So this isn't a issue down the road. If we're only getting 2 out of the 6, how are we going to address that later?
we mean, when I get
So
two
what
out of
I'm
the
saying that if
six.
we're borrowing radios from other apparatus, should we just entertain the 6?
the
Well,
fire, not tonight, but they have the
Not
fire
yet.
commission come back regarding the others
Because
and,
I can see that
and
happening.
borrow the others for a bit until we can figure it out.
Oh, that just kind of makes me feel worse about the whole situation though, that we just discussed. I mean, now you're telling me we're short 6 radios at how much a piece?
8,000.
So we're talking about a $50,000 purchase that, you know, we should have known about going into this. You know, it probably wouldn't have changed the fact of whether we purchased the truck or not, but it would have changed the fact on where we took the money from and how it affects things, and the voters would have had the ability to vote on the whole thing. The truck still would have come in, but
Mhm.
it just, I'm just, look, I don't want to, you know, come off as, you know, beating a dead horse here, but in the future, it's got to be better thought out, because I'm not gonna, you know, it's just not right. I mean, we're talking about $50,000. And we didn't have the equipment, you know, to do it. So, and now you're telling me that other trucks don't have equipment. So is that a hazard now? Have we created a hazardous situation just to get a ladder truck in service? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes, are we putting lesser, quality radios in those? Yes.
So they do have radios. They just don't have the same exact radios that you have right
Correct.
now. Okay, so there are radios in the
They
truck.
are.
You're utilizing the old HT 1250s.
Correct.
What we essentially replaced because they're
Right.
obsolete
Okay.
equipment, but
Okay.
they still work.
Okay, so,
Just chief, out of the old truck that we got rid of, were those radios available for service, or were they outdated and not replaced?
Well, see, to go all the way back, that truck was considered reserve. It didn't have portable radios on it. The radios that were on that truck were put into the new pumper tanker in 2013,
Oh,
when that was purchased. So again, we didn't add radios even back then. So they went to the new truck that was allocated as, because back then it was engine 1. They went to the new engine 1, and now we did take radios off of engine 11 to put onto.
What year
This
did
new
you
truck for-
upgrade? What year did you upgrade your radios?
We just did what,
22.
22, just 2 years ago.
And how many did you purchase?
I think it was like 72 radios for the town.
No, for you,
That was allocated to somebody else?
for the fire service.
Well,
Well, it was one lump purchase for the 2 departments in emergency management.
right, so we had, the officers each got a radio, so we were talking, 8 radios there. One for the chief truck, that's, 9, one for the expedition, that's 10. 6 for engine 3, 6 for engine 1, that's 12, that's another 22. So we're up to 22. So I think 24 radios total.
Was that, when that was done, that wasn't grant money at the time, was that ARPA? What was it?
No, I thought that was.
No,
CNR.
I think that was a
CNR.
seminar.
I vaguely remember it.
We
Mayor-
tried for grants and I think 3 years in a row it was.
We tried for FEMA grant.
Really? Okay. We'll work closely on that. We have somebody who's doing grant writing for, we'll work, see if we can get grants too for the future. Mary, did I make a motion when I started this out?
No.
Okay. Any further discussion on someone who would make a motion? Okay, so, I move that we recommend to the Board of Selectmen the Fire Commission's request for the purchase of. Excuse me?
Recommend to the Board of Finance.
Sorry, Board of Finance. It's been a long day. I move that we recommend to the Board of Finance to approve the Fire Commission's request for the purchase of portable radios for Truck 4 from CNR in the amount of $16,867.92. So that's, any further discussion? Okay, without further ado, all in favor, say aye.
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 That's right.
I think we discussed it before.
Okay, I don't want to hear you get the wrong number, get the right number.
Yeah, I have
Too
the
late, too late. We
invoice.
voted
I
on it.
checked it. Well, we're still open. Let's see. I got 16,867.92. Is that what you have, Chief?
I have $16,867.92.
Okay, and that's what I said. So don't have to worry about motions to reconsider or anything. That passes unanimously. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned at 8:07 PM.
Oh, my God.
Certainly not a Brian meeting, sorry.
I hold the record now, too.
You do. You do.